Call Elohim Yahweh, Bahasham Hamashiach Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakodash, Barakatham. Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar from the GMS Orlando camp, here with another lesson. First, I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, whom rule well, and from whom we learn this truth. Shalom to you, Akim, who are not in GMS, but are pushing likewise doctrine in spirit and in truth with all sincerity. To you few sisters that are listening and learning, as well as you speckled birds who are scattered among the nations, looking like those nations. To the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the hopeful elect, to you I say, Shalom. This is this week's rendition of Hebrew Conduct. All right, Salakia. And not sure what I'll title it yet. But anyway, the topic is basically knowing when to speak and when not to. All right. Silence is a powerful thing, especially for men. All right. And that even might be a proverb or saying in the world, which I'm not trying to quote that, but if that is how it goes, it's indeed true. All right. And how much more so for the apostles, man. Okay. Now, as always, you're to use wisdom, right? And understanding when you deal with people in the world. When you deal in general. All right. And that's the thing, because we are practicing right now. We're rehearsing to be judges. Right. Now, the scriptures does tell us, all right, to be ready to give an answer. But again, there's a time and a place for everything. Okay? There's a time to speak and there's a time to keep silence. All right? Matter of fact, let's just get into the lesson, because that was, we'll end up pulling that verse as well. All right, in Ecclesiastes. But so I don't ramble, let's be concise with this. And something, let's get it's in Ecclesiastes, not Sirach. Yeah, let's get the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and 1. All right. And this thing can be applied to various places in your life. All right. But for those of you who listen and then come up on the camp, this is something that you should consider as well. This verse in particular. And it reads, This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 1. And it reads, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, right? And be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. All right? Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth. Therefore let thy words be few. Okay? Hey, I'm gonna read verse 3 too. It says, for a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by the multitude of words. All right? Let's get that in the NLT. You know, and it reads at the top, it says, approaching God with care, right? But it reads, as you enter the house of God, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. It is evil to make mindless offerings to God. Don't make rash promises and don't be hasty in bringing matters before God. After all, God is in heaven and you are here on earth, so let your words be few. Too much activity gives you restless dreams. Too many words make you a fool. Okay? So remember that. Too many words make you a fool. Okay? And listen, the house of the Lord, right? The house of God is not a building. All right? It's not a temple, a harlot house. Okay? And by a temple, I mean it's not a physical building like a church. Okay? After all, you all remember that, you know, in times past, Esau burned down a lot of our churches. And in more recent times, there have been mass shootings in churches, mostly conducted by Esau, Edom, right? Those devils. But again, the Lord doesn't dwell in those type of places. So anywhere where 2 or 3, right, are gathered in the true names of the Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai, all right, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach being the Son, that is the house of the Lord, the house of God. All right. That's first and foremost. But again, this understanding can be applied to many places in life. Right. But especially amongst men of the Lord. You know, you learn by listening and staying silent. All right. Especially you women. But we're not going to get on y'all today. This is about in general. This is about in general knowing when to speak and when not to. All right. Even if you think that you have knowledge or know something, hold your peace. All right. Many people have come up to the camp having, you know, slivers of information, and they get in. They want to debate, which that's not what we're set out there to do. We're set out to edify the flock, right? But if they have genuine questions, they get answered, right? But there's a a way to do things. Okay, there's an order, right? And for you brothers that are amongst the camp, and congregating, even if behind the camera, whatever, you coming amongst the body. If you notice, these men have old spirits on them, like even the young men, right in their 20s, they got this old aura about them, right? And when brothers are speaking, other brothers are quiet, man. In the world, we call that having decorum, right? Having being considerate, having decorum, some class about yourself, right? But it's really because when a man speaks, one should listen. Now, if you perceive that man to be foolish, then obviously, go on your way, right? Proverbs 26:4. Proverb 26:3. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the ass, and a rod for the fool's back. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. Okay? Then verse 5 says, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. So again, there's a measure of wisdom you have to use there. Okay, there's a measure of wisdom you have to use there. Let's get an example of wisdom. Let's get Mark the 15th chapter. Let's start at 1. I believe this account is also in Matthew the 27th chapter, but we in Mark because I think it's a little shorter. Mark 15:1, and it reads, and straightway in the morning the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council, and bound Yahushua and carried him away and delivered him to Pilate, right? Pontius Pilate. And Pilate asked him, art thou the king of the Jews? And he answering said unto him, thou sayest it. You said it. And the chief priest accused him of many things, but he answered nothing. And Pilate asked him again, saying, answerest thou nothing? Behold, how many things they witness against thee. But Yahushua answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. All right. So there's a few instances in the scriptures where it speaks on Yahushua not speaking or not addressing individuals, not answering a word. All right. And it said what? Pilate marveled. Okay. This is a show of wisdom by Yahushua. And we ought to do likewise in certain cases, and especially if one's looking to incriminate you or, debase you or any of those things. Okay? Now, this takes practice. It's a difficult thing to do. It's a difficult thing to do. Let's go back to the book of Ecclesiastes and Salakia. You hit on chapter 3 right fast. This is the one I brought out where I was roughly paraphrasing in the opening. We're going to start at 1. A time for everything, right? This is Solomon. All right, Yahweh Shai in a previous incarnation, if you can receive it. And we're going to start at 1, and it reads, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Salakia. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones. Time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. All right? And that's the point. There's a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Just like we saw in the example with Yahweh Shai when he was being accused. All right? Falsely. Right? They were making accusations of the Lord, man. And he held his peace. Right? Because he realized at that point there was nothing he could say. They pretty much already had their minds made up. Right? Now let's get this last one. In the book of Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiasticus, verse 20. And I think I want what, 4 or 5? 5. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 20 and 5, and it reads, there is one that keepeth silence and is found wise, and another by much babbling becometh hateful. Some man holdeth his tongue because he hath not to answer, and some keepeth silence knowing his time. All right, some keepeth silence knowing his time. And a wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity. But a babbler and a fool will regard no time. He that useth many words shall be abhorred, and he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated. All right. So, finding that balance is a difficult thing. But you know how they say in the world, read the room. All right. In the scriptures, you have to try the spirit by the spirit. You have to discern the spirit. All right. Discern the spirits that you're dealing with or that's around you. Stay circumspect. And this even applies to brothers, man. All right. Definitely to your old ladies, to your rib, your demon, your wife, whatever. All right. And at the plantation as well. This is something that can be applied in your daily walk everywhere. All right, but with that, I pray this lesson finds you well, and I pray that it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.